Section 1 of Selected Poems of Colombia. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Selected Poems of Colombia. From Anarchs by Guillermo Valencia. Read by Newgatenovelist. The mute gaping throats of the mine swallowed phalanxes of workers who, suspended over hideous gulfs, seem swallows poised at fantastic heights. Phosphorescent as glowworms, yellowish, tremulous, along dizzy ledges their torches prick the dark, and, blackened with coal, they cling down the cold tunnels like a wretched colony of beetles boring a rotten tree. Miserable artists, your vain dream flies lonely amid the shadows as fireflies threading a summer night. The murderous light of the lamps, gilding the arrogant columns, will scorch your immortal brows and your sapphire wings, O madman! Without bread or love or a cave, where sleep might ease your fever, you succumb to the barbarous chain dragging you toward the Seine mud. Dogs, miners, artists, the arid enclosures that shut you in consume your livid flesh, and in the world's dusty Sahara you find the water of tears only. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To the Andes by Guillermo Valencia. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Oh, how I miss you, mountains of my home, and your deep forests with their tranquil nights, when I heard nothing but your flowing springs, as I gazed upwards to your rugged heights. When I, upon clear mornings full of dreams, through cistus thickets o'er the plains would stray, how oft I saw, with sweet emotion deep, your vast gigantic mass, in wavy sweep, follow the line of dark woods far away. How many evenings on your lofty crest I watched the peace that on your heights doth reign, the distant clouds of red, the forest wild, and looked ahead to hours of homesick pain. Oh, how I long for you, my mountains dear, and for your woodlands calm and peaceful nights, the murmur of your fountains as they flow, the summits of your rough and craggy heights. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Sursum by Guillermo Valencia. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. A pallid taper its long prayer recites before the altar, where the censers spread their lifting clouds, and bells toll out their dread, and grief's delirious sanctuary rites. There, like the poor Assisian, invites a cloistered form the peace all hallowed, against the dismal portals of the dead, resting his wearied brows for heavenly flights. Grant me the honey taste of the divine, grant me the ancient parchment's ruddy sign of holy psalmody to read and prize, for I would mount the heights immortal crowned, where the dark night is mid the glories drowned, and gaze on God into his azure eyes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Two Beheadings by Guillermo Valencia. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Omnis plaga tristitia cordis est, et omnis malitia necitia mulieris. Ecclesiastes. Judith and Holofernes. Thesis. White and round were the breasts that subtly stirred, and shone in rhythm with the Hebrew's tread, waking the murmurous harmonies of the red of rubies and the cincture's starlight gird. Her lips 2 jacinths made of every word, a vase of lurking essence harvested, her flesh a treasury with honey fed, her cheeks by tear or pallor yet unblurred. Stretched on his sandal couch the Assyrian lay prone, the while the uncertain shadows ran lugubrious patterns from the torch's glow. And she, as in his sloth he slumbered there, lone and inscrutable, the sword laid bare, made ready in the darkness for her blow. As the sleek tigress crouches in the vine, so Israel's daughter for the deed prepared. Then, the sheer blade in silent fury bared, she clave the head from the great form supine. In floods, as from some broken jar of wine, this sudden stream broke round her, as she dared, a murderess amid the crimson snared, to raise on high her haggard countersign. In the blank eyes, the bloodless cheek, the beard entangled in the black and moist that clung, in baleful knots of shadow, where the white steel bit the ripened pomegranate as it seared. The trunkless head amid the darkness hung, a rose unhallowed in the bowers of night. Salome and Iochanan. Antithesis. A woman and a serpent formed in one, the dancer Salome swung round and round, lasciviously unto the crottal sound, her body bared in perfumed unison. All of the Orient through her dance was spun, pacings that fire the sleeping blood to bound, or bow to earth the human despot crowned, and leave life flowerless and the soul undone. His eyes inflamed within his parchment face, the ghastly tetrarch leans him from his place upon the fair one, murmuring in his greed, "For thy lips' honey, my Tiberiades." And she, "Keep thy dead cities, on my knees grant me the Athenian's head mine eyes to feed." As the swift wind amid an ancient wood, so passion through the aged tyrant played. His eyes gave signal, the great slave obeyed, whose gleaming sword against his muscles stood. Vast was the silence as the just man's blood burst in a scarlet stream beneath the blade. Then Antipas signed to have the salver laid before the siren in her bestial mood. A light immortal gleaming from afar, lit with the radiance of a dying star, the martyr's pallid lips and marble brows, and like the foam of some death-brooding deep, the holy head all bloodless seemed to keep the breath of myrrh, as from the censer blows. The Word of God. Synthesis. When Jonathan the Rabbin, incarnate the soul and body of all Bible lore, my poem heard, his lips were smiling for the thought he from the inspired text would state. To womankind, he said, trust not your fate. She breedeth madness, she is mandragore. Drink of her cup, your conscience lives no more. Your songs are done, your roads are desolate. And more he added, yet withhold your fear. Woman, man's ancient enemy, is here among us flaming like a comet dread. She cleanses earth from love that is but vice, and makes, to ease her burning thirst, suffice the very dews the wounds of martyrs shed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. White Storks by Guillermo Valencia. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Ciconia pietatis cultrix. Petronius. Folding their wings with soft and silent motions, the storks, a timid flock, have stayed their flight, resting upon the tower that stands deserted, while round about them dies the sunset light. Hour when the wizard with his magic palette, under the shining dome of heaven on high, pours out pale fleeting tints of misty violet, curled by the breezes as they wander by. Those birds disturb me, to my soul restoring the gladness that I thought had fled for aye. They to my spirit bring again the calmness, august and tranquil, of a better day. Their eyes' bright blackness puts to shame and humbles the ebon tree, dark-hued beyond compare. Their beaks where blended shades of red commingle, or join their throats of alabaster fair. The stork, a symbol vague of mystic sadness, appears her soft sides outlined to my sight, reminding me, as in the sun she stretches, of the long, slow death struggles of the white. With her slim form so full of graceful languor, her garb of magic white far off agleam, her figure there amid the shining heavens is like the pallid banner of the dream. When pressing close her wings, her neck outstretching, in flight from threatening talons that give chase, she seems a bended bow with ruddy arrow, drawn by an unseen hand in empty space. When weary is their flight and fluctuating, in the vague brightness by the starlight given, the storks then seem, beneath the sky o'erarching, bacchantes of the blue, all drunk with heaven. Those birds disturb me, to my soul restoring the gladness that I thought had fled for aye. They to my spirit bring again the calmness, august and tranquil, of a better day. Then I recall to mind the world's fair Aprils, that will come back no more, bright hours gone by, when it bound up its joyous youthful yearnings with the slow notes dropped by the storks on high. Now, quitting the cold mists, a golden refuge, they seek where Grecian isles and mountains smile. Now flap the whiteness of their silken feathers upon the miry margins of the Nile. In Latium they forget the Orient's gardens, and all its quiet lakes and palm trees fair, to watch, in ecstasy of adoration, the God of mercy on his altar there. Hard by the deity the Romans worship, the stork unfolds her wings of snowy grace. Hour after hour, in silent admiration, she neither sings, nor breathes, nor quits her place. There in her mute repose above the altar, with her long beak of burning crimson glow, a slender lamp she seems of whitest marble, hung where bright colours are outspread below. Purple upon thy beak, and purple also upon thy naked foot, stork, didst thou go hasting with loose wings, where the keen-edged poniard bade blood in tremulous cascades to flow? The spotless robe thou wearest, once the glory of the vast circus, when the holy maid was slaughtered, on her lovely throat the network of azure veins cut by the cruel blade. Everything hath its birds, duets delicious of blackbirds make the shady forest glad. The tower with roof in ruin hears the laughter Have owls ring out upon the midnight sad. So glory hath its bird, the tameless eagle, the swans, a snow-white choir, to love belong, and to the mountains where the snow spreads coldness, the giant race of condors, wild and strong. Upon the blurred escutcheon of the ancient, a relic of the vanished power of old, she lifts her neck into the silent heavens, the stork, the languid sweetheart of the cold. The white stork is the soul of bygone ages. She stands for piety, for love now dead. Yet her garb too is spotted, and the genius of innocence grown old, his youth has fled. Cover, O pearls, the black and shadowy girdle that o'er her brave attire its darkness flings. Hold back, forgetfulness, the turbid billows that have bestained the whiteness of her wings. Their flight disturbs the sand's inconstant calmness. A burning sky, and, ere day's flush hath ceased, on the horizon's golden verge the palm tree, browned by the broad red glowing sun, the east. Thou that wast wont the snow-white stork to worship, dost thou her virtue know? By grief oppressed, when hands of treachery have stolen from her the liberty to roam, she builds no nest. The holy vestal she of faiths immortal, and, homesick for their altar overthrown, she finds her refuge in the old cathedrals, and builds her nest in crannies of the stone. To seek the summer with its balmy breezes, the white stork leaves the forests damp and cold. She soars up swiftly, bearing on her shoulders the pious burden of her father old. She is the friend discreet and mute of Cupid, while night's pale planet pours its light above. She hears the little lad, absorbed, relating the story of his heart's most secret love. For the dark girl with lips compressed, high-bosomed, feverish, racked by passion's stormy power, with bloodless hands and glances wild and thrilling, who makes man weaker like a poison flower. Or for the maid with eyes of depth unfathomed, light changed to flesh, the blossom of the sky, who scatters on the wind her fair blonde tresses. Frost is she, given life by powers on high. Or for the girl with skin of pearls and roses, Semitic nose and hair of gleaming gold, who at her window seen is like the Virgin upon a Gothic stained glass casement old. Those birds disturb me, to my soul restoring the gladness that I thought had fled for aye. They to my spirit bring again the calmness, august and tranquil, of a better day. A faithful symbol of the artist's madness, forever they will lead my dreams away. The white storks, with their wings the high air beating, their eyes that seek the Orient night and day. They, like the tribe forlorn and sorrow-laden, who towards the country of chimeras move, over the sea in mystic flocks are crossing, in search of spring, a springtime full of love. And they do not behold, like those pale singers, beyond the rough sand beaches, dreary sights, instead of blossoms, wastes of frozen mosses, instead of smiling April, winter nights. A white-haired race of men proscribed and exiled, their temples branded with the seal divine, like shipwrecked sailors, shrieking as they perish in sight of lighthouses that brightly shine. If they could go, fast holding to thy mantle, to build their nests at last the towers among, if but the thought of coming soft oblivion could cure the wound that throbs in their sad song. Oh, if they knew the poem that they dream of, the golden poem of supremest worth, destined to win the palm, the world to conquer, dies hid, nor ever from the soul comes forth. To sing, to dream, ah, touching, sad delirium, joy to the crowd, but grief and bitter pains to those who get no answer. Deadly anguish of poor Petronius opening his veins. O poets, feeble sculptors, close devotion they give to form, which all their care consumes, and they use up the brightest hours of morning in carving their obscure and gloomy tombs. Ye birds that bear away my thoughts, attaining the limbo of all forms, unknown, unseen, let the wind bring from you a breath celestial to consecrate my chisel's edges keen. I love the bards with feline claws, distilling upon the points their grief and bitterness. Like a pale steed, they utter forth their madness with voice hysteric, while the strings they press. Give me the verse of polished alabaster, which, firm and pale, can like the blind man see, though without eyes, a star of light soft shining, as a fire gleams where dim grey ashes be. I search for rhymes in rich and golden shower, dewdrop, springs, lakes, cascade, and sea wave white. I want the sonnet like a Nubian lion, with broad strong head and sounding tail of might. Even as the captive bear, grim, sad, and homesick, with hairy claws and gloomy, mournful eyes, gazes forever at the roof above him, through the mute bars that shut him from the skies, hoping the roof may break and light from heaven stream in and smite his eyes with splendor free. Madly he longs to climb the mountain summit, or on a block of ice to sail the sea. So from the depths of this my gloomy dwelling, a wreath of sleepy dill upon mine hair, my troubled vision fixed on heaven's azure, I feed upon my dreams, as does the bear. And when I see you from my moveless grating, ye thoughtful, white-winged birds, I sadly say, happy were he who could fly hence, O Athens, to where thy marbles blossom, far away. Their wings unfolding silently and softly, the timid flock of storks at break of day left the deserted tower, and journeyed onwards, with the first twilight of the dawning grey. They greeted with sad notes the lazy waking of the new day, slow climbing heaven's height, and as on the horizon they grew dimmer, the sky's dark arch turned pale with their soft shimmer, with the white weariness of their far flight. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Village Night by Luis Carlos Lopez. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Night of a tropical village, the hours solemn and slow, then time for prayer. Houses where senoras are praying, and doors closing musically there. One hears as a sudden discord some straggler's sandals. The breeze wafts down the street what an odour of yucca bread and chocolate, of camphor and cheese. A peddler off there in the hovels, where clandestine shadows fall, amiably touching his accordion, leads his donkey to its stall. All alone my neighbour the druggist, at the counter, the scene of his toil, sells with a sibyllin gesture 2 cents worth of castor oil. While the moon approaching the zenith whitewashes the church, on dark skies the church is a nursing bottle, the swollen moon like a pimple lies. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Verses to the Moon by Luis Carlos Lopez. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. O moon, who now look over the roof of the church in the tropical calm, to be saluted by him who has been out all night, to be barked at by the dogs of the suburbs. O moon, who in your silence have laughed at all things, in your sidereal silence, when, keeping carefully in the shadow, the municipal judge steals from some den. But you offer, saturnine traveller, with what eloquence in mute space, consolation to him whose life is broken, while there sing to you from a drunken brawl, long-haired, neurasthenic bards, and lousy creatures who play dominoes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. River Folk by Luis Carlos Lopez. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. 1. The Village Barber. The village barber, in his old straw hat, and dancing pumps, and waistcoat of piquet, plays sharp at cards, and on his knee-bone squat, hears mass, and rails at old Voltaire all day. An old subscriber to El Liberal, he works and sparkles like a merry glass of muscatel. His razors rise and fall, timing his gossip of what comes to pass. With mayor and veterinary, pious folk, who say the rosary, he speaks no joke of miracles by Peter Claver wrought. A tavern champion and a cockpit sage, amid the scissors' clip, his wars he'll wage, sparkling like muscatel the light has caught. 2. The Village Mayor. The village mayor, in a soiled Panama, with a trickler ribbon at its crown, stout as Ou Capet, in his loose eclat, glitters with bulldog face across the town. A doughty neighbour, ruddy as the toe, his dagger's point his only signature. When at night the garlic soup will flow, he makes his girdle strap the less secure. His wife, a nervous, pretty little thing, holds him as in an iron fastening, cheering herself the while with Paul de Kock, decked in glass beads, her eyebrows painted clear, the while her spouse through the back town will steer, with stomach jewels and a face of rock. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Problem by Alfredo Gomez Jaime. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. I am a coward fearful of death. I am a coward fearful of life. They are two vast secrets, life and death. Two great traitors are they, death and life. Garlanded in roses, passes life, with a heavy paw, approaches death. And none in her flight can detain life, and none in her coming can detain death. I am a miser, on guard his treasure before, the heart's precious treasure, those whom I adore. I tend my flowers, mourning that they are dear, I would not lose them. For this reason I wait until life in my agony cry, and back! Shriek to death, shivering with fear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Sketch by Alfredo Gomez Jaime. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Your forehead with its pure unsullied snow is crossed by a black eagle. Flying there, her dainty curving wings twin arches form, arches of jet. Those are your eyebrows fair. Prisoners of love, your beautiful bright eyes, because so perilous their flaming glow, are by a close battalion guarded well, your curling eyelashes in double row. Prisoners with glance divine, you shine so bright, between the darksome lances in your cells, I will prevail to free you by my prayers, though I should have to kiss the sentinels. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Evening Moon by Cornelio Hispano. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Athwart the verdant vineyards there, the moon and albahaca and mimosa blend, where soft and gentle country maidens wend, singing to the guitar's melodious croon. Down at the river banks, their deep jaws spoon the stream to merry calls that never end. From the old laurels the cigalas send their ceaseless note in sharply carping tune. O moonlit night, O hallowed touch of peace! The urchins in a ring dart to and fro in blind man's buff with tricks that never cease. For me alone there comes no golden ray. Alone I listen, and my ears but know the voice of children singing far away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Closing the Book by Miguel Rash Isla. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. I close this book, and closing it, evoke the hours of sadness and the hours of care, when, as my brows some ancient parchment were, upon these pages my poor madness woke. I know that neither art nor wreathed oak, for any gentle largesse it can bear, can pay the price, O beauty, of the fair white lilies that thy storied urns bespoke. Fever and sorrow, doubting and lament, all these didst cost me, O thou sorry book, where I have lived, and lived on self-intent. Today thy pages dusty and defiled, recall me on myself to turn and look, a man of grievings, and in works a child. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Secret by José Joaquín Casas. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. His solemn benediction at an end, the cura's rites are done, the joyous sound bids all the childish choir's hearts to bound, as when at school their sing-song lessons blend, and rumours vague a silver music lend, as through the town the dwellers drift around. The glad old priest feels all his breast enwound with breaths of balsam pure and reverent. Of all this placid Eden spot, I hold the secret key, which the mad world ignores. Nor Plutarch nor wise Epictetus knew. Child, youth and woman, townsman young and old, all in Via Suta know it too, the saving wisdom that mankind adores. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Goatherd by Luis Maria Mora. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Tell me, sweetheart, tell me, pray, is there a wild creature that yields not to its loving mate? Tell me, dear, will you not listen to my plea? Like a young kid dancing across torrents and valley places, darting up the leafless heights, or showing through the flowery branches, your gentle head moves to and fro with gracious easiness. Light are your movements, in your eyes burn the dark flames of your 15th year. Hear me, beloved, who by day and night, restless and full of love, follow you, seeking your heart, touching my lute. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Thus Are My Dreams by Roberto Lievano. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. A nightingale with silver flourish told of thine approach from the high lemon tree, and lo, before me rises dreamily thy form upon the lily paths of old. How thy hands tremble as with light! How cold the starry glisten of thine eyes on me! How lightly stir thy breasts! In them I see twin doves that whisper love where branches fold. The breeze comes sifting through the grove. It shakes the sacramental lemon trees in flakes of snow upon thy breast and silken hair. Dawn rises, veiling thee in mist that seems to take its whiteness from thee. Thus my dreams behold thee flower-like in thy bridal wear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. On the Lips of the Last of the Incas by Jose Eusebio Caro. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Today arriving on Pichincha's slope, the deadly cannon of the whites I flee, like the sun a wanderer, like the sun aflame, like the sun free. O sun, my father, hearken! Manco's throne lies in the dust, thy altar's sanctity profaned. Exalting thee alone I pray, alone but free. O sun, my father, hearken! A slave before the nations of the world I'll not agree to bear the mark. To slay myself I come, to die though free. Today thou wilt perceive me, when afar thou dost begin to sink into the sea, singing thy hymns on the volcano's top, singing and free. Tomorrow though, alas! When once again thy crown throughout the east will shining be, its golden splendor on my tomb will fall, my tomb though free. Upon my tomb the condor will descend from heaven, the condor, bird of liberty, and building there its nest, will hatch its young, unknown and free. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Spain and America by Ricardo Carrasquilla. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Her race, her language, laws and creed, Spain on America bestowed. Full soon the younger country showed that she was of a ripened breed. With liberty her one desire, full soon the battle volleys roared, when great Bolívar drew the sword, and rose triumphant o'er the fire. And wherefore, valiant from the start, hath Spain beheld her power decay? Because herself hath taught the way of conquest to the victor's heart. She gave her speech, she gave her blood, and all her old traditions gave. In her we glory with the brave, in her our needs are understood. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Fragment of the Hymn to Bolívar by Rafael Pombo. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Thou fillest all of South America, from the Atlantic shore to Potosi. No snake, no briar that did not wound thy feet, no palm that did not wave to honor thee. Hero, thy last antagonist is time. Thy triumph waxes as the years decay, for even our errors and our meannesses make thee stand out still greater every day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Our Madonna at Home by Rafael Pombo. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Couldst thou portray that face whose holy spell still sheds its peace o'er all the loved at home? 'Tis mine so long in other lands to roam, that her smile only I remember well. Hers at whose shrine, when sickness on me fell in childhood, suppliant thou didst kneel, my mother, and I saw both smile, weep, embrace each other, and which the sweeter was I could not tell. When memory now in manhood would recall her features, who with thee doth share my heart, her whole forgotten face seems like to thine, and both are still to me the source of all that's best in me, of poesy and art, nor either, mother, could my soul resign. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. At Niagara by Rafael Pombo. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Again I see thee. Once again I know mine old-time witchery, as in years gone by. Titan of grace, white, fascinating, vast, Sultan of torrents, calm in matchless power. Eternally the same, Niagara, eternal in thine ecstasy, awake in thy tremendous sway, unwearying ever of thyself, as man untired of gazing upon thee. How couldst thou tire? Beauty, alive forever, acts and lives in purity and cannot fail. O thou, the perfect daughter without human touch of his high fiat that perpetuates the laws inviolable in their course, fond sister of the skies, the light, the air, guest unexpelled of Eden that we lost, thy beauty is creation's constant work, transcending even its high creator's breath. Here, something tells us, here is God, nectar of rapture, and of balm that sprang in times of old, Today beholding thee, there wake within our breast the seeds divine. The ardent soul to nature's wonder swells. The warming love of family grips the heart, eternal and indissoluble. Thus, as to the sea the drop released from earth, thus for the mother's breast the babe inclines. Dumb in our intimate delight we turn to this communion with eternity. Can God grow weary? Ah, in things that cloy, there is a deadly, fatal principle, inertia, the germ of death at war with God, the gangrene of a soul apart from his restoring floods. But where, O mind, descend'st thou? O Niagara, recall, and in thy image let me see the boast of souls victorious. Behold sublime the hero in his martyrdom, and gaze upon the genius calm amid his powers. Delight me, soothe me, O museum vast of cataracts, O foundry of the clouds! O sea, without a depth, despite thy waves, white colonnade some great Alcides reared from out Olympus, here between the twain Mediterranean oceans of the world. Live on, eccentric giant, to delight in solitary, immemorial mood of madness of the gods. Unchained fling forth thine ocean floods along the sloping gorge, and lost in rapture, drunken with the joys of thine own strength, mind not that man has marked thy Titan play among the solitudes, no more than where the ant lifts up its head to join itself with thee. What difference? The earth cannot contain thee. In a burst thou surgest on unto thine ocean couch. From the globe's confines ultimate, men come to visit thee, to raise themselves on high, with contemplation of thy matchless charms. 1,000 tongues along thy banks acclaim in thee the grandeur of their God, the boast of nature's purest triumph over all. Heredia came and paid his tribute here, hailing Niagara in his soul, in dread more of himself than thee, for all thy floods. The Anglo-Saxon Cyclops, quick to prove unto the world that he is lord of thee, spans thy great gorges with his airy bridge, embracing thee as with an iron hand, in sign that man, the insect of the hour, the dizzying hour, proclaims his reign abroad. 'Tis heaven herself laid down beneath thy feet these angel pillows coloured for the spheres, and for one bridge, hers are 1,000 round. To art of man opposing that of heaven, hangs tremulous here, as though the smile of peace amid the heavy breathings about death, her tranquil bow amidst the wild abyss. Sufficing glory is thy ceaseless spring of beauties, thou art shrine perpetual of man's deep wonder. What can I for thee, save but to add my little name to thine? I am the trifling shadow at the gates, a day to hover silent, a light breath in silence moving through thine icy mist. If to the surge volcanic of thy breast the earth, thy trembling cradle, hears the wind groan through its stony hollows in reply, I know not, for my heart is hushed, nor stirs within my soul the ardent flame of song. But what is this to thee, who, changelessly assert'st thy majesty and pomp, while I in years of exile stand in weariness of soul? Today I gaze on thee with eyes of sadness, amphitheatre divine, where mid thy gusts and mists eternal strifes of crags and whirlpools rage. In me there stirs no combat, nay, thy presence, rather than thy lofty beauty, wakes my wonderment, inspires prostration, yea, and chills my soul. This milky lake asleep beneath my feet, these curdling waves of emerald that cloak, as in a mantle's fold, thy rocky bed where floods are gasping, all unknowing where their destinies are urging. The dread pool and maelstrom that awaits them where in power, as of an angry sea, they writhe and lift their heads, like some lethargic boa, rolled in his majestic, noiseless coils, and poised magnetic for his dart. And so it is with me. Such is the mortuary sea of my existence, where the hidden plan sweeps in the whirlpool, gulfing, drowning me. Whence, O Heredia, thy dread? I look, and find it not. Not so unhappy thou, hadst thou known real fear. Thy hopes grew pale and trembled here unto their death. Here over all rules desperation. Here she lifts her craggy altars. From these deeps and Tartarus regions soars the mighty call of demon voices to infernal bliss. No, nature never overwhelms the soul with dread. Her very worst is but a boon. Her very tomb is but a couch of rest. She is a child, forever innocent and candorous, a gentle nurse, whom heaven in goodness gave to man. To man, the asp, the monster, O Heredia, how well thou knew'st, whose contact is a fright to me, the asp that poisons soul and body both, Satan eternal of our brothers' lives, as well as of our own, disturber born of every paradise that nature yields, of every scene with ordered peace that brings his mind the memory of heaven, his wasted destiny. Mankind, the link between the angel and the fiend, the foe of all who would ascend the heavenly stair toward the high model of divinity. Away, abortion! Here is nature, here. But at the sight of this vast, thunderous stream, this splendid comet of the waterways, I would not seek its arms, like that light bow that trembles o'er its radiant gates, nor yield my thoughts nor feelings. Thou art so supreme, Niagara, so irresistible thy witchery and majesty combined, that hapless man, amid his little day, can but adore thee. God, grant happy death to him who vainly turns to thee, to ease his overpowering woes. O mother mine, sweet martyr soul, thy pardon! 'Tis to-day, at home, that once was happy, we make feast in honour of thy name. I now implore on high thy pardon. 'Tis no fault of thine that I should owe to thee my hapless life. To-day once more canst save me, once again through thy unfailing tenderness. Thy Son, revived anew, makes offering anew of freshened vigour. Here, through custom old, come first the wedded from their nuptial shrine. Here is their second nave an altar place of love. Here are their seats beyond the world, within the love god's arms of clemency. Ah, may he bless them, casting on the surge the pure white jasmine blossom of their wreaths. Rest, rest, chaste visioning! Unto the sound Niagara thy parent rocks thee, rest. Faithful shall be thy lullaby, O rest, until across thy garlands come the voice of the great requiem he chants for thee. Let thy soul take my blessing upon thee, keep it as benediction in thy heart, blessed because thou lov'st, more blessed still when thou no more art woman, when thou diest, and disappear'st, and fallest to repose. My soul grows weary o'er thy silent grave. All is accomplished, all with perfectness, as God decrees. To-day the absent turns his way again to thee, again as one we stand together. Thou within thy tomb, dead they say, and I perchance more dead than thou, surviving mine own heart. Peace, peace, let not my woes disturb thee in thy rest. Yet easier would it be, Niagara, to speak across the tumult of thy falls. Thy waters seem like the beginning world that leaps from out the hand of the divine, inaugurating its eternal course throughout the ether deeps. Thou art like heaven, that bends upon the earth amid thy clouds, half veiling here the majesty of God. Forever new and brilliant in thy sweep, forever fertile and magnificent, the vital spring of Mother Nature's breasts, shining with healthful savours, thou dost show thy grandeur in thy fall, and raisest high from thine abyss the hymn of praise and life. But oh, to me life is a sarcasm now. My world has finished, and my soul is dead. In my desire to sing speaks but the rhyme of hate, or de profundis as of death. It is to lighten weary days, Niagara, my steps I hither press, to turn indifferent shoulders to thy ways, my brows immersed amid thine icy sprays, rendering back to thee forgetfulness. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Child Asleep by Dmitri Ivanovich. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. In the hushed dwelling where the plaintive ray of one poor candle's light on roof and floor weaves in its flickerings fantastic store of shadowing, a little head doth lie upon its snowy pillow while the play of rhythmic breathing calmly stirring o'er the couch mysterious and pure and more as with a wavelet sets its depths a-sway. There watching at her side, I gently feel her light breath stir and move against my own, that pauses with the awesome thoughts that steal across me, stricken to my very soul with the vague dread of life that I have known. I yearn to be her shield, her cloak, her stole. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Hymn to Aurora by Julio Flores. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Thou heavenly butterfly, whose great and tenuous wings their gold and rose spread high, thou that in ample heaven's sight over the Andes' mighty summits flings in bland and radiant flight, from what far garden place, O butterfly divine, dost race? What heavenly branch or vine gives thee sustaining wine? Perchance the gardens of the night strengthened thy wings of light. What gleaming flower shall ease thine infinite thirst? Perchance the golden lees where heaven's star blooms burst? Perchance the bright horizons filled with glorious rays, where gold dust of thy wings is spilled o'er seas and mountain ways? Thou heavenly butterfly, come on my breast to lie. From thy transcendent sphere seek out our poor world here, ere thee in winging turn to ashes day shall burn. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Eyes by Antonio Gomez Restrepo. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. There are eyes so full of dreams that they show us scenes of yore, eyes whose pensive glances pour light of other skies and streams, eyes of grief that nourish themes dimly seen as from the shore halcyon wings that wander o'er broken waves and clouded gleams. Eyes there be whose sorrows fair teach oblivion from the skies to the hearts whose cross is there, eyes that sweet old gladness prize, whose ethereal cloudings bear stars from a lost paradise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Toledo by Antonio Gomez Restrepo. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Perched on its yellow peak beneath a sky inclement as of Africa, there lifts Toledo, with its brows of wrinkled rifts, crowned with the belfries of the long gone by. The sacred city shuts its midday eye to take siesta mid the orient wifts. Only from out the forge the rumour drifts, whereon the sword blade still the armourers ply. Deep in the choir's ancient glooms, behind the Gothic lattices, there bends in prayer a pallid monk upon his ritual. And on the balcony outside there wind the garlanded carnations burning there, fresh as the lips love's earliest sighs enthrall. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Generalife by Antonio Gomez Restrepo. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Alone it stands, an idle heap of dust, the dreamland Arab palace on its hill. And should Boabdil, its old lord, come still, his grief would find an equal in its rust. The sweet Granada spring herself doth trust ungrudging here, and her green charms fulfill. The fountains play, and dream would have its will over the perfume spilled on every gust. Who in this gracious tower retreat, remote, could muse an hour upon the languid charm of beauty and the smiling thought of love, and find not through his drowsy senses float another voice that sounds the soft alarm of tears as in the nightingale's full throat? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. And end of Selected Poems of Colombia. Thank you for listening.